Welcome to ProspectNow. ProspectNow is designed to do one thing, and that is help you get more listings. Now, recently we launched our new predictive marketing platform, and what I'm going to walk you through right now is how ProspectNow can use its predictive analytics and its machine learning algorithm to help you find properties that are statistically more likely to be listed for sale in the next 12 months. Now, that sounds complicated, but when you actually go through the demo, it's incredibly easy to use. So I'm going to show you how to do that. So let's say I'm a real estate broker and I focus on apartment buildings in Northern California. And my goal right now is to get more listings, for sale listings. So how would I do that? Well, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go in here and I'm going to click on Build a List of Properties. I'm going to select my area, which is Santa Clara County. Then I'm going to say search an area on the map. Okay, so now this is going to pull up the map, and I'm going to go ahead and draw the area that I want to focus on here. So I'm going to go here. Okay, so now you can see that if I scroll up here, it says I got 9,400 properties in this area. So let's click next. Okay, and now I'm going to focus just on multifamily. So I'm going to select multifamily, and that gets me down to 518. Okay, so here's the key. Now, what do I want to do? I want to find potential sellers. Now, ProspectNow's new predictive marketing feature is going to help you identify the ones that are more likely to sell based off of all the transactions that we've been looking at each week for the last 5 years. So what we're going to do is click on this Finding Potential Sellers. Okay. And then I'm going to click Next, and I still got my 518 results here. And you'll see down here, there is an option that says properties most likely to sell in the next 12 months. Okay, so all I'm going to do is I'm going to check that. Okay, now you can see it took me down to 158. Okay, now I'm going to explain in a moment how it works, but as far as you're concerned as a user, this is all you need to know. You just check this, and then you're leveraging all of the statistical analysis and analytics we've done to figure out which ones we have identified as more likely to be listed for sale. So now I'm going to click Next. Okay, and I'm just going to go ahead and click on the results to pull them up here. Okay, so here are my results. So now that I've got them, what do I do, right? What we're going to do here is I'm going to demonstrate not only the power of ProspectNow to show you which properties are more likely to sell, but also the power of ProspectNow to get you to the true owner and the decision maker. So I'm going to click on this one here because it's kind of a pretty classic example of the way an investment property is owned. It's owned in an LLC, right? So you can see that the property, here's all the information on the property. Here's the information on the owner. Now, if you're looking at just the deed, what you're going to see is this Domus for Investors LLC, which isn't very valuable by itself, right? What we want to do is we want to actually reach out to the person that can actually make a decision about listing this property for sale. So ProspectNow gives you that data. So in addition to predicting which properties are more likely to sell, we can also get you to the decision maker so you have something to do with that list. So here's the owner. Okay, we know that it's actually this Prodessa property group, and here's the president, this guy Mike Pierce, and we got a phone number here. So now all we have to do is just click on this phone number link, and it loads up our dialing system. So now all I have to do is click on this phone number, and it's going to go ahead and dial my phone, and then I can go ahead and call Mr. Pierce and take it from there. And then if you have Google for Work or Google Apps, it can integrate to your Gmail, and you can send follow-up emails and what have you. So the whole system is designed to get you more listings. Now, if you don't want to use the phone, the other option is real easy. You can go in and actually do a mailer. So I can select these records here. Remember, these are my most likely sellers, right? So I can select these, and then I could click Send Mail, and I could go in and add a template, add a postcard, do mailing labels, or you can even push a button within ProspectNow, and we can actually send out the mail for you. So all of the above is possible with ProspectNow. Now, I want to talk a little bit about how the likely sellers capability works, because this is the new feature and we've been working on it for a long time and back testing the data to make sure that we know that the probability is increased when you select this option of likely sellers. So just to give you kind of an example, right? And by the way, disclaimer here, right? This is going to vary by market, okay? Obviously, we can't predict the future, but what we can do is we can figure out which properties are not fitting the profile that are going to be listed. And we can get rid of those so that you can spend a lot less money sending direct mail to property owners that are never going to sell. And you can spend a lot less time to picking up the phone and calling building owners that are never going to sell. So if you look at an average, we looked at a few different markets here. If you look at an average, on average, about 1 out of every 25 properties is going to sell in a given year. Okay, again, this is going to vary by market, but this gives you a basic feel for it, right? So 1 out of 25. So when you look at the ProspectNow stats for the properties that we tag as likely sellers, it's more like 1 out of 15. So it ranges, but it's between, in this particular test that we did, we found that it was a 68 to 135% improvement. Okay, so instead of just throwing darts at a dartboard, you're focusing in a little bit more. And that's how this system works. And so if you think about it, every week we're processing tens of thousands of transactions, and we're building a profile around the properties that are selling. What do they have in common? How long have they owned it? How is it owned? Is it an LLC? Is it a trust? What type of property is it? How is it? Is it owner occupied, or is it an investor owned property, et cetera, right? So we go through and look at all this and feed this into our model, and the result for you is less work and more profit. That's the whole goal. So I hope you found that valuable. Thanks a lot for taking the time to look at the demo.